A surprising update in the death investigations of Gene and Betsy Hackman. Officials now say Betsy called a medical service the morning after she was previously thought to have died. The Santa Fe sheriff says early February 12th she called Cloudberry, a medical concierge service with credentialed doctors.
That would indicate to me that she was seeking medical advice or medical help and may have not been feeling well.
A Cloudberry doctor described that call as an inquiry about an esoteric treatment, saying there were no signs of breathing issues or distress. The office called back twice, but never heard back. Investigators say Betsy Hackman died of hantavirus, a rare illness transmitted through rodents. She was last seen publicly February 11th, picking up a prescription at a pharmacy while wearing a mask. She was previously thought to have died that night, as several emails she received went unopened and unanswered. Gene Hackman is believed to have died a week later of advanced heart disease with Alzheimer's complications, and that timeline could now play a factor in the couple's wills. Gene left his $80 million estate to his wife and did not name his children. Betsy left her estate to charity.
If Betsy passes away first and then Gene, his will, in a sense, would become void because the individual he wanted his items to be passed to no longer exists in the eyes of the law. His estate and everything he left in his will would go to probate court, where individuals can argue that they should receive the benefits of Gene Hackman's will.
Trevor Ault, thank you. And ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer is here for more. Brian, authorities had said they were going to continue to investigate this case to finalize the timeline. So what happens to these wills now, and how much really hinges on this?
So both wills will go to probate court, where the judge will decide who gets to be the executor based on what is listed in the will. So, for example, if you say, I want my brother to be the executor, I want him to make sure to execute the will to the will as I want it to be, and then the beneficiaries are who the beneficiaries are, and they work out if someone else should be getting something or if the will should be executed based on the will of the people who have already deceased.
Gene has 3 adult children. His son Christopher has hired a California trust and estate attorney, but none of them are listed in this will. So what recourse do they have either way?
So again, his will go to probate court, and in probate court, the judge will look at it and say, okay, Gene Hackman wanted his wife to get the benefits of his estate. And because his wife, according to at least the autopsy report, passed away before him, that will would be considered null or void because it can't do what Gene Hackman wanted it to do. And the easiest thing to do is in order of a will, and I think everyone should have a will, and we were talking about this beforehand, I don't care if you're rich, poor, children or not, get a will. It's very important. Because what happens is, the order typically is spouse, children, parents, sibling. Now for Gene Hackman, because his spouse, according to the report, passed away before him, his wills can't be executed. He no longer has a spouse, so his children become the next individuals who have the strongest claim to his estate. And I think if they can prove that his wife Betsy passed away before him, they can show that that will, his intention, is now void, and they have the strongest claim to his estate.
Would anything be standing in their way if they do find that Betsy did pass before Gene?
Nothing really. I think if anything, the issue would be between the 3 children, who gets what? And I think if anything, the judge will say, you know what, we're going to split it into a third. Unless Gene Hackman had some other clause, like we know with Betsy's will, for example, she had this 90-day clause where if they die within 90 days of each other, her proceeds go to charity. Unless Gene Hackman has something to that effect, something that kicks in that the children can't get the estate, then it appears, at least from what we know so far, the adult children have the strongest claim to his estate.